What does it mean to fight the darkness without becoming it? For Luke Skywalker, the Battle of Mindor was more than a clash with the Empire's remnants, it was a reckoning. In today's Star Wars Legends exploration, we'll uncover the harrowing story of the Battle of Mindor, a pivotal moment in Luke Skywalker's journey that tested not only his skills as a general, but his very identity as a Jedi. Welcome to Star Wars Apprentice. Before we jump into the Battle of Mindor and Star Wars Legends, if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into Star Wars lore. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments on this and other Star Wars topics. If you're talking about Star Wars, then we want to hear about it. The Jedi were peacekeepers, not soldiers, or at least that's what they were supposed to be. But history has a cruel sense of irony. During the Clone Wars, the Jedi Order were forced into the role of military generals and warriors in a galactic conflict that betrayed their ideals. It was a mistake that cost them everything. For Luke Skywalker, rebuilding the Jedi Order meant avoiding these errors. Yet only a few years after the Emperor's death, Luke found himself on a similar path. When the remnants of the Empire, led by the sinister Kronel, known as Lord Shadowspawn, launched a campaign of terror from the planet Mindor, the New Republic turned to the newly appointed General Luke Skywalker. Kronel had once been a prophet of the dark side, a shadowy sect devoted to Sith teachings. His mastery of divination and Sith alchemy earned him the attention of Emperor Palpatine, who recruited him to serve as Director of Imperial Intelligence. Operating under the codename Black Hole, Kronel became one of the Emperor's most enigmatic agents, tasked with eliminating threats to the Empire. As Black Hole, Kronel's reach extended far beyond mere espionage. His experiments with Sith alchemy reflected his belief that the galaxy's destiny could be reshaped by the dark side. While other Imperial officers sought to expand Palpatine's reign, Kronel's ambitions were more profound. Obsessed with the dark side, Kronel withdrew into isolation, spending years in meditation that left him physically frail and mentally unstable. Paranoia consumed him, and he abandoned much of his role in the Empire. By the time of his exile during the Galactic Civil War, he was a hollow reflection of the man who had once directed the Empire's deadliest intelligence operations. Yet for all his decline, Kronel's cunning ensured he remained a dangerous adversary, waiting for the right moment to strike. When he resurfaced after the Emperor's death, Kronel rebranded himself as Shadowspawn, a warlord whose mastery of terror and domination reignited fear across the galaxy. With the aid of the Emperor's royal guards and legions of stormtroopers, he laid waste to New Republic worlds, committing acts of mass slaughter, piracy, and terrorism. Conquering the Inner Rim, Shadowspawn established a fortified base on Mindor. But his ambitions went beyond military conquest. Through Sith alchemy, he developed melt-massive crystals, dark-side-infused stones that allowed him to dominate the minds of his soldiers. These shadow stormtroopers were not merely soldiers, they were extensions of Kronel's will, their individuality erased in service of his philosophy that identity was a weakness to be eradicated. The New Republic, alarmed by Shadowspawn's growing power, dispatched Luke Skywalker to bring him down. But this was no ordinary mission. For Luke, the confrontation with Kronel wasn't just a test of his leadership, it was a battle against the very corruption that had once consumed the Jedi Order. The Battle of Mindor was one of the bloodiest conflicts of the post-Endor era. Kronel had fortified Mindor with gravity traps, asteroid fields, and hidden hangars housing thousands of TIE fighters. The New Republic's Rapid Response Task Force, led by General Skywalker, faced an uphill battle from the start. The first blow came when Kronel used deception to devastating effect. An unarmed shuttle approached the Republic flagship Justice, claiming to carry Kronel himself for surrender negotiations. Luke, sensing the potential for a trap, cautiously allowed the shuttle to dock, but it was a ruse. The shuttle detonated, destroying the Justice and throwing the Republic fleet into chaos. The Republic, struggling to recover from the initial ambush, fought to establish a defensive perimeter. Luke, now aboard a smaller vessel, led the fleet with a focus of minimizing casualties while seeking an opening to strike at Mindor's surface. On the planet, the battle was even more grueling. Kronel's stormtroopers were entrenched in fortified positions, forcing the Republic's Marines and Mandalorian allies, led by Fen Shaisa, to clear them out pocket by pocket. The melt-massive crystals made these stormtroopers nearly unstoppable. Luke ultimately uncovered the full horror of Kronel's operations. Kronel had abducted civilians, keeping them in a sorting center, stripped them of their identities, and forcibly transformed them into pawns with melt-massive crystals. Through his connection to the Force, Luke felt their despair and rage, amplifying his own conflict over the morality of this war. These were not willing soldiers, they were victims. The climax of the battle came when Luke confronted Cronal in the depths of Shadow Base. Cronal, wearing the Shadow Crown, a device that amplified his control over the Melt Massif, attempted to possess Luke's body. But by channeling the light side of the Force through the Shadow Crown, Luke disrupted Cronal's control over the Melt Massif crystals. The crystals liquefied and poured out of their hosts, ending Cronal's domination. But victory came at a cost. The crystal's removal triggered the Deadman switches implanted in the stormtroopers and pawns, killing them instantly. In a single moment, 50,000 lives were extinguished, and Luke Skywalker felt each individual death through the Force. The Battle of Mindor marked a turning point for Luke Skywalker. The loss of 50,000 lives weighed heavily on him, forcing him to confront the role of a Jedi in a galaxy at war. As a general, Luke had led his forces to victory, but the cost was one he couldn't bear. Every death he felt through the Force became a haunting reminder of the moral compromises made in war, even for a noble cause. 6 months after the battle, Luke resigned from the New Republic military, citing the irreconcilable conflict between his responsibilities as a general and his identity as a Jedi. In his resignation, he stated that the Jedi were meant to protect and preserve life, not command armies. It was a decision born of deep introspection and an understanding of the failures of the Jedi Order that had come before him. Luke's choice marked the beginning of a new chapter in his journey, the rebuilding of the Jedi Order, not as warriors for a government, but as guardians of peace and justice. The battle's aftermath left a sobering question. How could the galaxy move forward when the very system of governments and power were still shaped by the Empire's shadow? The New Republic faced not only the task of rebuilding infrastructure and governance, but also of dismantling the fear and distrust ingrained during the Empire's rule. This challenge demanded more than fleets and armies. It required a cultural shift that could inspire hope and unity across the galaxy. For Luke, the echoes of the Battle of Mindor would stay with him forever. The weight of his decisions, the lives lost, and the confrontation with Cronal had shown him the precarious balance between power and morality. The Jedi Order he would rebuild would not repeat the mistakes of the past. To Luke, the lesson was clear. To wield power without losing one's soul, a Jedi must reject domination and fear, no matter how noble the justification. The legacy of the Battle of Mindor stretched far beyond its immediate victory. It was a reminder that the struggle against the Empire's shadow was not just a fight for military dominance, but a battle for the galaxy's soul. For Luke Skywalker, it reinforced his role not as a leader of armies, but as a teacher, a protector, and a beacon of light against the enduring darkness. If you enjoyed this exploration into Star Wars Legends, be sure to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Can a Jedi truly serve as both a warrior and a peacekeeper, or are those roles forever at odds? Until next time, my faithful acolytes, may the dark side be with you.